Good morning. It is Thursday. It's January 12th, and this is Thoughts Out Loud session 18. Um, I think that information is right. Now, one thing about doing Thoughts Out Loud first thing in the morning is part of me is still asleep. I am a little late with it this morning. It's not 5:15 because that's when Thoughts Out Loud is supposed to start. It's about 6:15. I realized yesterday that I am what's the it's going to take some adjustment. It's an adjustment to get used to waking up at 5 a.m. and working a full day again. Um, my camera's doing some weird stuff. Um, that's something. So the reason I say that is because I came home yesterday and oh, sorry guys. Oh no, are we good? I think we are. Anyway, the reason I say that is because I came home yesterday and fell asleep. I sat in the bed, talked to the missus, and just passed out after work yesterday. And I ended up waking up around 8:30 or something like that. Again, I ended up waking up around 8:30 or something like that. But yesterday was Wednesday here in Korea, and that's my recording day. So, and 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock is my recording time. So I missed it. um, I was pretty distraught. Thank God we've got an episode in the bank. So tomorrow's episode or tomorrow's podcast episode is scheduled and ready to go. But I wanted to, take advantage of yesterday and get ahead, get next week's episode done, and the week after, or not actually not the week after next week, but the week after that, because the week after next week is a live episode. And I was a little upset. Haha, my voice cracked. I was a little upset because I was like, oh gosh, man, like I was kind of blaming the wife, like, yo, why'd you leave and not wake me up? Like, even like you even need me to be awake because you need me to pick you up. Why didn't you say like, yo, I'm leaving, wake up, make sure you gotta be up to come get me? I could have been passed out till 9 because 9 is when I leave. Because 9 o'clock is when I go get her. Um, in any case, I didn't record while she was gone. Even though I woke up at 8:30, I had 30 minutes to kind of cram a session in, or cram one of those episodes in, and just kind of get something on record. I didn't have my notes. I didn't have my notes. This is really bugging out today. I didn't have my notes because she had them. She had made them, and they were still completely in Korean, and I needed her to translate them for me. So because my Korean is not on, not on a level where I can translate an episode or translates information that has a lot of detail and things along those lines. So yesterday we were doing a pod. Yesterday I was scheduled to record a podcast episode about winter activities here in Korea, and I could have gotten. I could have only translated like 20% of the notes that she took. She did a lot of the research for me. So that didn't go as planned. But the great thing about, this is one thing about the new year, or having these schedules and have the changes that we made in New Year and wanting to stick to them. I said, because I was like, where I would have normally, so let me, where I would have normally sat and said, okay, I messed up. I missed the podcast today. Um, I'll get them next week, so to speak. Where I would have normally done that, I was like, no, I promised myself I wouldn't do that this year. Let's go ahead and like figure out a way to salvage this. So I did something pretty cool happen. Um, when my wife got back, put the baby to sleep, got everything done. She had to translate her notes for me in English, and I said, let's do this differently. Let's what we normally do. What we normally do then. Yeah, I realize how much I mumble now. What we normally do then is when we translate when we translate the notes and the details from English into Korean, we just sit and talk amongst ourselves, and I take notes, and she explains to me what her notes mean. The other way around. She explains to me what her notes mean, and I take notes and then use those notes for the podcast. But I told her yesterday, like, let's do something different. I've been wanting. I got this set up now. I've been wanting to set up an environment where I can do interviews in person. Now I've done an interview in person. I interviewed a good friend of mine, Xavier Cameron, when we once before, and the interview was great, and I appreciate X's time, and he covered exactly what I wanted to be covered, but the audio wasn't the best, and this video is driving me insane. The audio wasn't the best. It was kind of strange. It was just echoed, and it just the audio quality wasn't all that great. You can tell we both had one mic sitting in the middle of the room, and it's echoing all over the place, and it turned out okay, but not as great as what I've heard. I want it to be, obviously the goal is to shoot for like studio quality, right? So I want it to be like radio station type quality where you can just hear each other both really, really well. And so I wanted to test that out. And what I ended up doing, I said, okay, babe, instead of us doing this the normal way, like when you just read your notes to me and I take notes of my own in English, let's go ahead and do an interview. This lets me practice so many things. It lets you practice, or it lets me set up get a multi-mic setup with two mismatched mics and figure out how to do that correctly in GarageBand. And it also lets me practice my interview skills and talking with someone on the podcast. Oh, it turned out so well. And to go beyond that, it lets her practice like talking into a mic and having a conversation or having an interview and just seeing what goes into the podcast. So even if she doesn't do this in the future and she doesn't want it to be posted, which sucks because it turned out really good, but even though she doesn't want it to be posted, she kind of understands what goes into podcasting now. Like we figured out that like if we were to do this, we'd have to get it to the point where she understands like mic position, because she kept looking down at her notes while she's talking, and her audio is really good when she's talking into the mic. But little things like that, cutting me off. I didn't know how much she don't listen to what I say. That's like she just goes and starts talking about something else. But it was a push in the right direction. We killed 2, 3, 4 birds with one stone, and because not only did we do all that, I now have the information. I have it on record, so I can go listen. I'm gonna go listen to this anyway to see how she sounds and how the quality sounds, and I can take my notes then and go ahead. I don't have to take notes there. I can just go ahead and do up my podcast outline, episode outline based on what we talk about in the video or in the recording. I wish I could just post it. Like, I wish that was the episode. That would have been, that's the one thing, the one like aspect or the one characteristic of last night's recording. That would have been the biggest win if she would have just said, go ahead and post it, because it's good. It's I was actually very surprised by how I don't know, she sounds a lot better just sitting down and talking into the mic than I would have thought. Like, she's a lot more comfortable than I was at first, but I guess she knows it's not going to be posted, so maybe she doesn't have a problem with it. And her voice sounds better than I thought. Like, how she sounds so good. She did a video with a pretty popular YouTuber about life here in Korea, who does videos about life here in Korea, and everybody came in and commented on some of the things she's like. They commented on something that she said that they thought was racist. People are crazy, but she said she doesn't like black people. But they all said that she could do like ASMR videos, those videos that are like really like getting out of hand now almost. everybody's making ASMR. So many people are making ASMR videos, and it's like this relaxing. The people talk in this relaxing voice that gives you that little tingle that goes up your neck or down your spine or whatever. So yeah, hopefully this leads to us doing something, us getting some collaboration or something like that. Collaboration? I don't know. Hopefully this leads to her like coming on the show or coming on the podcast a little more often. I would love to cut out that whole. I mean, I personally would love to cut out that whole documentation process where she reads her like the translation process. I would just like to interview her and have her share with our listeners what she learned while she went and did some research. She's a little more stuck on the written content though, so I guess that's. I personally would rather do the audio content and cover like a good amount of what we're doing, like the top two. Like here's a quick example before I get out of here. We talked about obviously winter activities. She mentioned skiing, and we talked about ski resorts. Now I said, okay, let's talk about 2 ski resorts, and she said, well, I picked 2, but we had so many, and I would like to do a podcast where we pick 2 ski resorts and pick 4 different, or we picked 4 different activities, 2 places where you can do each, the ones that we wanted to talk about, the ones that were the most interesting, and then all the runner-ups or an entire list of the rest of them we just post as like an infographic and then put that on the site and then refer people to that if they really want to hear more. I'm totally down with that. She seems to be down with that too, but she's like, let's just do it on a blog post. Not so much anymore. I really want to do like infographics that people. I think infographics are more shareable because people are just going to look at the information. My camera is like bugging out this morning. I wonder is it because of this light, or I wonder is it because of my sweater. It's never been that blurry for that long, or just never had to adjust that often before. Anyway, maybe I gotta wipe off the lens. But yeah, podcast with the good, like some good info, and then some kind of maybe just an infographic on our site with the rest of the info in the entirety, everything else that she wanted to add on there that we couldn't add on there. If we could do that more often, or even just set up like make that like bonus content where you have to subscribe to the mailing list to get it. I'm gonna come back and listen to this weekend because I think that's a good idea, and I'll just listen to the audio because I'm sorry guys, the video, I don't know what's going on with it this morning, and now since I talked about it, it looks like it's got itself together, and since I'm done, it's pretty much it makes it even worse. I know I said I was gonna tell a story about something that happened at work that made me want to be an entrepreneur and made me want to build my own thing. That's still coming. I might do that on Saturday because tomorrow I really want to talk to you guys about this personality test. Personality test, or kind of, I think it's a personality test. It kind of like it's an evaluation to let you know whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, and whether you're they got some different characteristics in there that I want to share with you guys tomorrow. I took it. I want to send it to my best friend Anthony and see if he's going, and let him take it, and maybe we can get something going together where we both talk about our test results and how we took the test and what these results mean, and kind of go over our scores and stuff like that. That seems like something that'd be fun to do. Hopefully we can link up. That might mean Thoughts Out Loud gets pushed a little later. It's turned into something that I didn't really want it to be, but I definitely want to do that. Maybe I'll do Thoughts Out Loud tomorrow, and I'll just schedule a video to do that, because it doesn't have to be a Thoughts Out Loud thing. Now that I think about it, it can be just another video on All Things Will. So maybe we'll just do that. And then I'll tell you the story tomorrow. Yeah, okay, that'll work. Okay, pushed it to Friday. That's what we'll do. Pushed it to Friday. Aren't you happy you can be part of the creation process or part of the planning process? We'll push that to Friday. I'll tell you the story tomorrow, and then we'll do another video on Thoughts Out Loud where I hop on here with my best friend Anthony, and we talk about the personality evaluation. So today, the main focus is there's still no podcast episode for next week. The main focus is getting that episode recorded. So I'm going to go ahead, listen to the audio I did with the missus yesterday, and then take my notes and try to figure out some way to record the episode. Maybe I'll skip lunch today, come home, record the episode, and then edit it tonight and get it posted for tomorrow or for next week. I love the way it works out. Okay, that's all I got. That's the focus. That's what happened yesterday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow when we go ahead and talk about the one thing or the one story, the real big story that led me to want to build my own thing here. All right, I'm gone. And then it takes me a long time to click stop.